Hey class, Miss Jones here. Today we're going to be talking about rotations again. So, before we get to doing as many problems as we can in 15 minutes, I want to really quick go over the rules that we're going to be using for this entire worksheet. Okay? So, we have the rotating rules for counterclockwise rotations. Okay? So that's counterclockwise, CCW. And I am labeling these because it's very important to know which way you are rotating. Because a 90-degree turn counterclockwise, as shown here from here to here, is the same thing as a 270-degree turn clockwise in the other direction. Okay, so we need to notice that we are going to be using the same rule for both of these directions, because the shape ends up in the same spot. Okay, so let's look at the rule that we have. When this happens, our x and y point is going to change to this. And what this means is that the x and the y have switched places, and that the y term, we are going to be using the opposite. Meaning, if it was negative, now it's positive. If it was positive, now it's negative. Okay, so that little negative sign out front is just telling you to do the opposite. Okay, our next set of rules is for 180 degrees. Now that can be both clockwise or counterclockwise because we end up in the same location. And the rule is going to be exactly the same. The x and y stay where they're supposed to be. We're just going to be doing the opposite. If x was positive, now x is negative. Same thing with the y. And last but not least, we have a 270 degrees counterclockwise turn, which is the same thing as a 90 degrees clockwise turn. And for this one, we're going to be switching our x and y terms, but this time the opposite of x. So this time the x term, if it was negative, now it's positive. If it was positive, now it's negative. Okay, so just take a brief moment, look at our rules. Notice the similarities between these two and the differences. Okay, now we're going to go through as many practice problems as we can before you get to your individual practice. Here we go. Let's start with number 1. For this one, we need to draw a triangle ABC on our graph. Point A is at 2, 7. So it goes right there, taking care to label this point as point A. Point B is at 6, 5. Right there is point B. And point C is located at 4, 1. There is point C. Okay, so we have now placed our shape, triangle ABC, on the coordinate. Now I'm going to switch colors to show the transformation. We are going to go 90 degrees counterclockwise. To help me to make sure I know which one is which, I'm going to go ahead and write the rule that we're going to be using right here. Okay, 90 degrees counterclockwise is this one. So I'm going to be switching x and y, and the x term is going to be the opposite. Okay, so that's what we're going to be doing. So I'm going to go down here to these points right here, and I'm going to say A was at 2, 7. So I'm going to switch the x and y terms. Now I have 7, 2. And this one needs to be the opposite. It was positive, now it is negative. There we go, just like that. All right, now let's do it for B. Again, my x and y's switch places, so I have them backwards. And this one is the opposite of a positive, now it is negative. My last point, point C. I'm going to switch x and y's, just like that. And this one needs to be the opposite of a positive. It is a negative. There. Now I have 3 points that are going to be the shape after it has been rotated. That's what the little prime notation is for. Now I can graph the shape at this new location. Remember that after we've done everything, we're still going to be treating these points like they are now our new x and y. Okay, so we shifted from the old to the new, so this is our new shape. So point A will be at negative 7, 2. So start at 0 and go negative 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and a positive 2, 1, 2. Point A is right there, and we call that A prime. That little tally mark right there is needed. Now we're going to do B prime is at negative 5, 6. So from 0, we're going to go negative 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and up 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and there is B prime. Doing great. One more point. This one is at negative 1 and 4. Oh, I wrote a C for some reason. That's a 4. That confused me. Okay, so negative 1, up 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, right there. And that is C prime. So we can see we still have a triangle, and this triangle is congruent to the original triangle, but it has been turned, okay? A started up facing this way, and when it turned, now it's facing that way. That is a 90-degree counterclockwise turn, and it worked, because you can see it went this way, and it went backwards like a clock. Excellent. Okay, let's do another one together. Here we go. We have a square, PQRS, that we need to graph on the line. So let's do this. P is at point 2, 6 over 2, up 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right there. There is point P. Point Q is at 6, 5. I'm going to go over 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and up 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There it is. There is point Q. R is located at 5, 1. So over 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, up 1. There it is. There's R. S is located at 1, 2. So over 1, up 2. There it is. There's S. And yes, that does look like a square. Okay, now we are going to be doing a turn, and this time we're going to be using a 180-degree turn. Notice it doesn't say clockwise or counterclockwise, because either way it's going to end up in the same location, no matter which direction we are rotating. Let's look at our rule. The rule says for 180 degrees, I'm going to be doing the opposite of the x term and the opposite of the y term. So let's go ahead and do that. If I have point P, which is at 2, 6, the opposite of a positive 2 is a negative 2. The opposite of a positive 6 is a negative 6. I didn't change the order, I just made them the opposite. Okay, so let's do that with the rest of them. Q prime is going to be at negative 6, negative 5. R prime is going to be at negative 5, negative 1. And S prime is going to be at negative 1, negative 2. Okay, so now that I've used the rule for all of these problems, I can now put this onto my graph. Okay, so I'm going to graph P prime at negative 2, negative 6. Negative 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Right there is P prime. Q prime, negative 6, negative 5. So we're going to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, down 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There is Q prime. R prime is negative 5, negative 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, negative 1, right there. That is R prime. And last, we have S prime at negative 1, negative 2. And there we still have a square. It is the same shape as last time, but we have changed the orientation by rotating it. See how Q started off over here? And as it rotated, it ended up over here. And there is our finished rotation. We're doing wonderful. I think we have time for one more. So I want to go ahead and I'm going to skip ahead to number 5. Now I'm doing this because I see some negative numbers, and I want us to experience together what that looks like in a rotation. Okay, so let's start with C, D, E, F, and we are going to get that located on the graph. Go ahead and try this on your own, get it on the graph, and we'll check in with you in a second. Pause. Okay, we're back. So your rhombus, this diamond shape, is right here. We are going to be doing a 270 degrees counterclockwise turn. So let's go check our directions. So 270 counterclockwise is the same as 90 degrees clockwise, and this is the rule we're using. Okay, so we know we're going to need to switch our x and y terms, and that the x value is going to be the opposite. Okay, now remembering, opposite doesn't mean that the y value is always negative. It means it's the opposite of what we were looking at. Let's try this and see how it goes. First, I'm going to take C, and I'm going to switch them. I guess they're both 5s. But when I switch them, the negative 5 is now over here. I also need to take the x term, and I need to do the opposite. It was negative. That means now it is positive. Okay, so I'm just going to put a little plus sign there since I can't erase the negative, and we know that that will be positive. Okay, let's do that again with D. I know I need to trade these places, so 7 and negative 1. But I also need to do the opposite of this one. So opposite of negative is positive. Let's keep going. E, negative 3, 3, switch them. Opposite of this term would be a positive. And F, switch them. And the opposite of a negative 7 would be a positive. Okay, so we have all the coordinates written down now. We're going to pause again and let you draw the transformation. Go. Okay, so now your new shape should be located in this location. As you can see, it was a 270 degree turn this way, counterclockwise, or a 90 degrees in the other direction. There it is. All right, your job is to go ahead and finish the problems on this page that we weren't able to do together, as well as, let's say, 1 through, on this page, let's do 1 through 8, and go ahead and cross off 9, 10, 11, and 12. Okay, go ahead and just cross those off. We won't do those. All right, good luck. Remember to get your answers checked when you're done.